Hey there, this is Beth with YouTube Pagan Challenge question number 24. How does spirituality relate to your mundane life? I bet you already know the answer to that question if you've watched several of my videos. And the answer is they are entwined. I do not see a difference. When you are consciously working magic, yes, but life is also an act of magic for me, no matter what you're doing. Cleaning your dishes, you're cleansing your house, you're cleansing off the goo. Even if it's just food and putting them in the dishwasher, that is a form of cleansing. Washing your body, cleaning your teeth, brushing your hair, all can be mundane ways of cleansing, even if you're not thinking about it consciously. It becomes even more potent when you bring in the conscious act of, say, taking a shower and actively cleansing yourself of the day's grime or whatever. Dry brushing is another way to energetically just cleanse. That's very mundane. They're so very entwined for me that I don't see how we can. I don't see how or why. Why would you want to like cubbyhole your life into like, here's my magical life and here's my mundane life? And I get that there are people out there for safety's reason that in their mundane life do not advertise that they're pagan or a witch or whatever. I get that part, but that does not mean that you cubbyhole your life. You're still walking a spiritual path through the mundane life, even if you're not like, I'm a witch kind of thing in your everyday. It's not about being out of the broom closet. It's about you and how you move through your day. And knowing that spirituality is not in this little hole in the mundane here and watching TVs over here, playing with the cats down there, going for a walk over here, exercising, eating right, blah, 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 tarot, whatever. They're not in different cubbyholes. It's just all you. These all make up you. So why separate them? Why would you want to do that? It's kind of, like duality, or that whole mind-body kind of split, which is also duality, of this or that kind of mentality. And I really have not been keen on the idea of a duality in the self for a very long time, of how to integrate my mind and body, my soul, all those three things into one thing, for that's what they are, and stop thinking of them as separate creatures. And really knowing that they're one and bringing that into all aspects of life. Yeah, because I think, especially for people who walk a path of faith that is generally self-guided, there can't be a separation. There is no go to church on Sunday and then be done with it. And I think a lot of people do that. And I also think a lot of people do go to church and still have that thread of spiritual and faith that runs through their life and don't separate them out. But in secular societies, I often see kind of like, you go to church on the high holidays and then you just, that's church, and then there's life. And they're not really entwined. And I think if you really want your spirituality to go somewhere and be bigger and greater and more wonderful and bring everything in, that includes the mundane, the sacred, the profane, the boring. All of it is part of your spiritual path. So for me, mundane is spiritual, and spiritual can also be mundane, I think, sometimes. What what rituals do you do on a daily basis? Do you pull cards? Things like that. Excuse me. That daily act starts to kind of bring it into the mundane. but it's also spiritual. Is that your spiritual mundanity coming up? I don't know. But, you know, it's there. It's there everywhere for me. And I don't separate it out. Have I, you know, I'm trying to think, have, you know, and I don't, because when I did attend church, it was about pageantry for me. I liked the pageantry of church. I wasn't really too interested in anything else. I liked the rituals of that. And maybe it's because we didn't really do rituals at home for the most part. I don't know. But I don't see why you would want to separate out spirituality and the mundane. Why create pigeonholes for certain parts of your life for the most part? You know, they're all one. You're all one. Why not be one? Why not see everything as holy? You know, then you start to run into the question of, you know, if it's all holy, then what's not? I don't know. Too many questions. Too many questions to ponder in the world. You know. I think, you know, really for me, the difference between the mundane and spiritual is the level of consciousness brought to it. Because even when you're aware and present within your everyday life, I don't think you're quite as aware and present as when you're, say, doing like ritual work. And part of that is ritual is there to heighten that awareness, that is there to make a pinpoint, if you will, of presence, of knowing, of awareness, and kind of sinking in with things. So, you know, there are differences in between them, but I also don't think just because there are differences that they need to be separate. You know, ritual is just bringing more of you out, you know, because frankly, you know, as much as I talk about awareness and presence and being in the now, you know, there's only so much the brain can focus on for long periods of time. And, you know, it's, yeah, everyone has presence and that slips away from them. And I think where we really need to be aware of losing presence is when we're using it to push feelings away, or we're living things, you know, or living things that haven't even happened yet. That kind of stuff. I think that's where presence in the mundane life really comes into play. It's like, oh, I'm living in the future. Oh, I'm living in the past. Maybe I should just be now and kind of feel my crappy emotions or my good emotions, because you can feel your good emotions too. You just don't have to sit and be present with the shitty ones. You get to sit and be present with the good ones too, and that's what awareness brings you. And when you're working spiritually and ritually, you know, I think those become intensified, and that's kind of what separates it from ritual, from the mundane, is that intensity. But in no way does that make it separate from the mundane, or the mundane any less spiritual for me. And I think that's all I have to say on this. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later.